Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. I'm Michi. Today we're going to play with Natasha Denona's gold eyeshadow palette. This was the first eyeshadow palette I saw of Natasha Denona's and it caught my eye right away. Who doesn't love a gold eyeshadow? Well, not only that, but it has several gold eyeshadows. It's kind of amazing and you kind of can't stop looking at it. The gold eyeshadows in here come in different textures and have different undertones. You've got something that's very foil-like, and this is Alchemist right here. And then you have this very sparkly gold called Kava that is more of a topper eyeshadow. And then you've got this metallic gold here called Aurum. And that you can actually use as a base if you want a really shiny metallic gold look. And then finally this very, very sparkly Oro. Just look at these, they're all different textures, different undertones. And then how could we forget this brass here that kind of has a green-blue reflex to it. Look at that. No shortage of gold, if that is your thing. So I'm going to swatch the gold eyeshadows on my arm to give you guys a better idea of what we're working with or what you get from this palette. I won't swatch the entire palette because there's already a lot of videos on the gold palette. It's been released for, I believe, 2+ years at this point now. But if you would like to see swatches for everything, definitely comment down below. I'm happy to do a follow-up video. So let's start with Kava. So that's the one that's more like a shade topper. And then let's go into Aurum. Aurum is here. And then going into this row, we have Oro. After Oro is Alchemist. Has more of a bronzy undertone to it, Alchemist. And then finally, you know what? I realized we forgot Chrome because Chrome is actually a gold eyeshadow. It's a dual chrome formula and it definitely has green blue to it. So let's swatch that as well. And then I'll have to go to this arm for that very last one, Brass. So Brass, while it reads more gold, like foil-like gold, when I look at it from here, definitely has like a bronzy undertone with some green blue in it. So it's a very interesting color. How does it compare with this one here? That's Lime Chrome. And how it compares, definitely way more foil-like in texture, whereas this one, the Lime Chrome, is more sparkly. And they definitely do feel different in their finish, so different texture. Lime Chrome is, maybe it could be a transition color or it could be a shade topper, much like Kava all the way up here. Of the different golds, the way they swatch and how they feel, some of them you can use as a base color. If you didn't want to use a matte as a base color, you can use any of the ones that are softer, easier to blend. So like this one here, this guy is Alchemist. You can probably also use, you know, you might be able to use Oro, but that's really, really shiny. I have Oro in the outer corners or the inner corners of my eye. And then you could probably also use Brass too, because of its texture and how easy it is to work with and to blend. But again, it all depends on the kind of look you're going for. For today, however, I did use Kava, Aurum, and in addition to that, Oro, but then I added Varus. Oh, whoops, you couldn't even see that. So for today's look, sorry, I used Kava, Varus, Aurum, and Log, and then Oro right around this inner corner. So let's swatch Varus. I'm gonna wipe off my finger here so I have more room. Varus is a metallic finish that's very bronzy. It's very soft, it's very smooth, also not a lot of fallout. So one thing I want to point out too is some of the gold shades here, like Brass, like Oro, do have quite a bit of fallout. And so when you're working with them, you definitely want to tap the excess and not go too hard into the shadow because they're also quite soft. And then Log also has fallout, but very, very creamy matte. And that's what Natasha Denona's formulas are known for, the creamy, creamy mattes. Very easy to work with, very easy to blend. If you look at Log and Varus, these two colors go beautifully together. Let me put some Log on top of Varus, just very lightly, because if you add too much, you can't really see anything. But can you see just right here? You just darken it a bit, and I'm only using my finger, but you just darken it a bit to make it look more interesting, more dimensions. And then I added Aurum as a transition shade. So when you add Aurum on top of Varus, because Varus is going to be my base shade, this might be hard to see, you just kind of made it a little bit more metallic and shimmery, but it takes on some of the base color Varus comes through. So it's very, again, adds more interest to the look. And you can see here with all of the four colors blended in, they all work together to give you a very comfortable, interesting look. And before we get into the tutorial, there's something else I wanted to talk about. This is the first time I'll be using Beautylicious limited edition blush brush or powder brush on a video. So I used it to apply the colors you see here, the powders you see here onto my cheeks. I use a sponge for any of the creams, and then I use the brush for the powder formula, added some of that here to give it more pigment, and then using the other side of the brush, use the highlighter, just add it into the tops of my cheeks, the high points. And then just for a little bit something, because while we're at it, I use this color here, or this powder here, that is the diamond powder. Again, this is Natasha Denona's Diamond and Blush palette. Just ever so lightly, because it is very sparkly. I just added a couple here. And I also use the same brush to apply some of the highlighter color, which is called Glow Extreme, into this area here, my nose and my chin. So my thoughts on actually using the brush, it takes just the right amount of color that you dip it in, and the I guess the pressure I'm applying is about the same as I would with my other powder blush brushes. Again, I don't have that many. So it's about the same, and it just goes on very, very nicely, very smoothly. And then if I just buff it a little bit, again, it doesn't take a lot. It does move the color to the other parts, diffuses it very, very nicely. It's extremely soft. I talked about that on the video. And because of its size, like you saw, I can use it on different powders and just apply that onto my face without switching different brushes. So I'm really happy with it, and I am kind of thinking about getting this brush again if they were to release, you know, next year's edition. But from what I heard, it is now out of stock. It's not returning. If you're interested, be on the lookout for next Lunar New Year's release. I have a feeling they're gonna bring that back because it's really pretty popular. Let's move on to the tutorial. My brows are filled in and I have primer on my eyes and face. I'm gonna start with a crease brush and I'm gonna go into the color Varus. Just a good amount, tap out the excess, and then I'm gonna start with the inner lid, and I'm going to work this color upwards to the rest of my lid. I want to make sure the color is concentrated towards the bottom. Go ahead and add a little bit more color if you need. The goal is you want to have this color all over the lid, all the way up to the crease. I'm going once more for some added color, and also starting with the inner lid before I move upwards. Then I'm going to take this packing brush and then I'm going to dip it into log. Oops. And then I'll apply this color to the outer corners of my eyes. Both the metallic shade Varus I just put on and this log, they're both so buttery and soft that it just takes very, very little effort to blend in. It's almost like I don't even need to take a blending brush to work in the color a bit more. I'll do that to the other side. And when you add in this color to your outer corners of the eye, I'll work from the outside inwards about not quite halfway, maybe 1/3 of the way. And because the side is a little darker than this, I want to make the two even. And I'll bring it upwards a little bit as well. Any imperfections you see, imbalance that you see now, that can be corrected with a blending brush in a little bit. Now I'm going to take this small shadow brush, dip it into Aurum, and then I'm going to apply it to the middle of my lid from bottom and then upwards. I am using Aurum as a transition color. Add some texture to the look to make it more interesting. Repeat on the other side. And then finally, taking the other side of the same shader brush, I'm going to dip it into Oro. And then I'll apply it to the inner corners of the eye, working up a little bit. Repeat on the other side. Now I'll take a blending brush to even out the outer corners of my eyes. And you want to work this dark color from inner lid to upper parts of the lid into the crease and pull this color about halfway because you want more definition and dimension to the look. Do the same thing here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead, put on some foundation, do the rest of the look, and come back to add some finishing touches to the eyeshadows. I'm going to put some sparks onto my brow bone, and this is a different shader brush from before. I tend to use this one for brow bone highlights and inner corner eye highlights, so I know I won't get a darker color onto the brow bone by accident. Time for some mascara and eyeliner. I'll come back for the last time. This is the completed look. I hope you found this video enjoyable, helpful, and inspire you to create your own looks. If you like the video, like, subscribe, ring the bell. That really helps me out. I'll see you guys next time.